You're watching WCSD Cable Television from Calloway County High School.
Hello Lakers, welcome to a very important special edition of LakerTV.
This week we'll be hitting close to home and talking about some rather serious topics.
These topics have affected countless of people across the world and have recently caused an uprising in movements, protests, and even riots.
Sexual assault, depression, anxiety, divorce, and other emotional hardships have hurt people of all ages and completely changed their lives.
In recent news, we have seen a doctor from USA Gymnastics plead guilty to sexually abusing more than 130 women and girls in his care.
This world has seen thousands of people bring awareness to sexual assault through the hashtag #MeToo movement.
We've seen celebrities such as Matt Lauer and Louis C.K. accused of sexual harassment.
And in our own community, we've seen the Marshall County tragedy cause fear and heartbreak in thousands of parents and students.
Today we're going to address the question, what is being done to help people affected by emotional hardships? More specifically, what is being done in our school? This is Close to Home.
According to itsonus.org, the official site for the White House movement against sexual assault on college campuses, 11.2% of students experience some form of sexual assault. NoMore.org, another organization that focuses on stopping domestic violence and sexual assault, says that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men were sexually abused before the age of 18.
I feel that it's a much needed attention for the topic because it's happened a lot throughout the years and it needs more attention than it has been getting.
While harassment is not acceptable, are there little things that we as males do to upset women?
The new crossbow in that game's trash.
How would you know?
Because I play.
Girls don't play Fortnite. Probably not well.
One student said our society is programmed toward a patriarchy that runs deep in us all. And while guys may not mean to offend, sometimes they do.
So, it's like the little things like not really listening to us, not really taking things that we say seriously, just kind of dismissing our point of views, and I know that most of the time it's not on purpose and it doesn't have malicious intent or anything like that, but over time it builds up and you start to notice it and it gets really annoying.
How prevalent is sexual harassment to the students here at Calloway County High School? We decided to ask Assistant Principal Steve Smith his take on this situation.
Several of the cases that we've investigated involved students that harassed someone, and that particular instance would have been a terminal offense if it had been a workplace rather than a school, meaning what they said or what they did was a fireable offense. They would have lost their job in the workplace, and we try to make sure that they understand that when they come in here.
Sexual harassment is pervasive at junior high and high school, according to a 2011 survey by the American Association of University Women. Girls were more likely to experience all forms of sexual harassment. In the 2010-11 school year, 13% of girls reported they were touched in an unwelcome sexual way, and 4% reported they had been forced to do something sexual. Hearing these statistics, do you think these kinds of things happen here at CCHS? Well, sadly, this Laker sophomore experienced the anxiety and frustration of sexual harassment from a boy who used to be her friend.
Well, I've gotten used to it because it happens all the time, so I just brush it off.
So how did it make you feel? And how does it make you feel?
It bothers me a lot. I don't like it.
What would you say to victims of harassment?
Go to administration and just talk to them about it.
So, what behaviors qualify as sexual harassment? Things like catcalling a girl, making crude sexual comments, pinching, slapping, groping her inappropriately, or calling a male student a foul name for the way he looks, acts, or talks. Experts say schools who state clear and strict sexual harassment rules can punish the pupil accordingly, and more serious offenses should be handed over to the authorities.
Us handling it at a minimal level, meaning we would handle it within the school if it's harassment to a certain degree. You know, that can be ISAE, that can be suspension out of school. But when you're talking about real life, jail time, loss of a job, lawsuits, those things pale in comparison. Now, if it's something as serious as sexual assault, then that's when I get Officer Gallimore involved, and we turn that over to the police.
On the national level, sexual harassment is a big issue. So, we decided to ask a couple of girls here at CCHS whether the male student body treats them with respect, or do they treat them just as a sex object?
Some of the boys I've come across do. There's some that don't. I just don't speak to them any.
For the most part, the male student body is pretty respectful. So.
In recent years, people have been becoming more aware of the importance of mental health.
The Anxiety and Depression Association of America states that 80% of kids with diagnosable anxiety and 60% with diagnosable depression are not getting treatment.
Calloway County High School has recently hired a counselor to help students with these issues.
Let's take a closer look into how this new counselor aims to better students' mental health and emotional state.
Anxiety, depression, divorce, bullying, and abuse. These are all things that high school students deal with on a day-to-day basis.
I think one of the biggest issues is the words mental health and mental illness. I think they're very scary and people are really, really embarrassed to talk about it. So I think that's the first step, is finally admitting to it and being open to talking about it, because it's nothing to be embarrassed about at all.
A study from the National Alliance on Mental Illness shows that 20% of youth ages 13 to 18 deal with a mental health condition. 8% also deal with anxiety disorder. 1 in 5 will have began to suffer from mental illness as early as age 14.
My main purpose is to be the support system that these students need. I really work on coping skills and social skills and self-esteem and stuff like that. My title is specifically Mental Health Associate.
Fortunately, students at CCHS have a wonderful opportunity to seek help.
Well, my name is Katherine Getz, and I graduated from Murray State last December. I graduated with my bachelor's in social work.
Ms. Getz is a new staff member in our school, and her sole job is to aid students with any emotional or behavioral issues that are preventing a successful school experience. Ms. Getz is actually employed by the Mountain Comprehensive Care Center.
Well, we have a lot of different programs, not just school-based, which is what I work in. We also have programs in our clinic that are for adults as well, and crisis intervention and things like that, and group programs and tons of other stuff like that in our clinic. And I report to the clinic that's in Benton. That's the closest one to us.
If you feel you could benefit from talking with Ms. Getz, students must first consult with a teacher or guidance counselor who will make a referral.
If a student is dealing with a divorce or like a loss of a loved one, even like peer conflicts like in school, if a student is struggling with academics here, I can help them think about their thought process with school and stuff like that, and just coping skills with things like that. And like I said earlier, social skills is a big thing that we work on too.
In fact, studies show that 50% of students ages 14 and older with a mental illness drop out of high school.
I want them to know that I'm not scary, and that not to be afraid of the word mental health and mental illness, because like I said, it's super important to take care of yourself, and it's really important to get those things out. You know, you don't want them stuck in, so that's exactly what I'm here for. So.
Recent research claims that friendships, or lack of, can be linked to depression and anxiety. Depression and anxiety is a huge issue for teenagers since these years are the most critical in our development as an individual.
Producer Adrian Johnson brings us a segment that questions whether wide popularity in high school is really a good thing. Here's Caleb Spain with the story.
According to stereotypes, high school students are obsessed with being popular. But is popularity always a positive thing? New research published in the journal Child Development shows that teens aged 15 and 16 who had a close friend rather than a bigger peer group featuring less intense relationships reported higher levels of self-worth and lower levels of social anxiety and depression at age 25. That's compared with their peers who were more broadly popular as teens, but didn't really have a real close friend.
What's some advice you would give to someone struggling with depression or social anxiety, or both?
I would probably just, be there for them and tell them that it's gonna be okay, and just be really nice and caring for them, and not just leave them out there to struggle with their problems that they're having.
Some advice I would give is you can always go talk to any of the teachers at school. They're always here to help. And I would definitely talk to one of the green dot people.
Do you prefer to have a close friend or a large friend group?
Large friend group.
Why?
Because I have more people to interact with.
I have a best friend that is there for me.
It really just depends on who it is, because some people really like having close friends and other people like having big friend groups, so it just kind of depends on who it is.
Do you believe that having a close friend rather than a big friend group decreases the chance of depression and social anxiety?
I think having someone to talk to, someone who, when you feel you're alone, that you can reach out to and you're not alone.
Yeah, I think it would. It's important for you to have be able to connect with somebody, and a close friend would help you do that.
Depression is a real issue that adolescents face every day, and having a close friend can change their perspective. People just want someone to be there for them when times are tough, so try to reach out and create a connection that might change someone's life. For LakerTV, I'm Caleb Spain.
Sadly, students across the nation are experiencing the close-to-home feeling that we had a few weeks ago, as yet another set of students have been scarred with the event of a school shooting.
17 people were killed at a high school in Parkland, Florida, while another 14 were injured. We at LakerTV send our condolences to the victims and their families during this traumatic time.
With 18 incidents of a gun on school campuses this year, we hope that you all understand how serious this epidemic has become. And we hope that you remember to be positive towards everyone.
And everyone needs a friend.
Keep our schools safe for everyone. Make us a beacon of light to shine for others.
Thank you for joining us for our special edition of LakerTV.
We hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next time.